Yes, good morning to you, Desiree, and the viewers at home. It was really quite peaceful here. It's quite a small class, as you would have seen, I think, in some of the visuals that we had in that story. They're not a big school as per se. It is a farm school. It's quite rural, quite small, quite tiny. It was very orderly. They started on time. But I mean, when you saw, the butterflies and the nervousness that you'd see in some of these learners, but also quite touching, we saw Mahlako Komane, one of the learners that we had spoken to in that piece that you just played. I mean, she was in tears. She was crying that for her, such a it almost is surreal for her. In one of our conversations that we had with her, she was saying how, when her mother passed away, she kept on telling them that no matter how old you become, you must never give up on this dream of education. This is going to help you, see better in life, do better in life, and become better, I suppose, and come back and uplift this family. She turned 21 this year. She says this was one of the reasons why she never gave up on that dream to eventually reach this milestone of grade 12 despite the circumstances. But here, it was really peaceful, orderly, small class. Everything started on time. There really were no complications here in this particular school this morning, Desiree.
And so just as we look at this particular school, do we have a broader picture in terms of the Limpopo province situation as the matric exams start?
Yes, Desiree, we had, spoken to the department, the MEC, I think it was about maybe 2 weeks ago also, but it was definitely more than a week ago, and they had said that they were ready to administer the examinations. There was a special focus that in terms of giving assistance to the Sekhukhune region in terms of the pass rates, they had gotten between the two parts of the regions. I think it's east and south, the Sekhukhune east and south that they divided into. In terms of last year's pass average, there it was I think 58 and 59. The average into 58, I think, and 57, but the average came to about 57% in terms of the entire region, saying that they had put in quite a lot of work in that particular region in terms of the winter classes, giving support for learners in that area, just to try, I suppose, and bring them up, and also saying that they're taking that approach of having districts set higher goals in terms of the percentage that they want to see coming through. As you would know, in some provinces like Gauteng, I think the districts are sitting at about 80%. That is the standard that they have. So she was just telling us that they're trying to bring them up to also bring the standard up in terms of what they are aiming for, that even if they don't necessarily reach that, they are able to do better. But saying that also across the province they had done quite a lot of work. She also spoke to the merging of schools, the smaller schools where it's not viable, saying that this is also going to help in terms of the performance of schools, because the smaller schools will be merged. There'll be more resources that will be put into schools in terms of educators. It will also change, I suppose, the ability for schools to give subjects, a greater variety of subjects. So we're hoping to see how that will translate into the results. We know that the performance not so good in terms of last year. They were at the least performing province in terms of all the provinces. So they're trying. She did say that we are really trying to move out of that and do so much better, that they are aiming high, but they have tried to put in that support. But also, Desiree, she spoke about support, that parents also need to come to the party and support children in terms of their academic ambitions and their academic efforts. That this is, is a joint effort between what happens in the classroom as well as what happens in the community, in the environments that children go to after, the school bell, rings for the end of the day. That communities must also come in and play their part in terms of supporting learners there, Desiree.
You're talking about parental and community support, Mahlako, and here at the Dikwenyana High School at Phiring, your focus is on these orphaned children. What sort of extracurricular support are they getting?
You know, Desiree, you would know and appreciate the just farming communities generally, the level of poverty that does exist in a lot of them. I mean, people normally in such communities would work at the local farm. They are, seasonal laborers at some of these farms. In terms of extra support that children are getting here, understand that what the school head here decided to do, Desiree, was to, I think in September last month, in September last month, what he did is he took the learners out of, the community, and he's been housing them. They call them camps. They've been camping here at the school. So he's got a separate area for the female as well as the male students. They literally sleep here. They eat here for the duration or up until the exams are over. So just to try and give them ample time and opportunity to, study without the interruptions of household chores, the problems that I suppose create a different type of environment for them where their focus can be school. When I did speak to the head just to ask how do you go about, achieving such a thing in terms of, getting children out of their homes and actually bringing them here, he said it was a decision that was taken with the community where they had decided that they were going to bring the kids in here because one of the reasons, maybe late for just a bit of a backstory, that Sekhukhune said to not be performing well when we speak to the department was the issue of, I suppose, a busy social life, children here having a lot to do in terms of spending a lot of time at these drinking halls. There's just a lot happening that's not academic, that's not academic in nature. So the principal also concurring with that he was seeing quite a lot of children being absent on Mondays and sometimes on Fridays because this is where the drinking begins. So to try and, I suppose, put them in that zone of academics and doing what is necessary, they had decided to camp them here. But other than that, I suppose he was also saying that it's quite tough for a lot of parents here. Besides the orphans that we spoke to, those 8 children that are without parents, saying that just generally the general poverty in this part of the province is very rough, but they're trying their best as a school, teachers are putting in the extra time just to try and support these children. So definitely it is a community effort in the sense that some parents, those that are around to do so, have allowed their children to be here for the last 2 months, as well as educators also coming on board and doing their part outside of working hours, Desiree.